When I was 12, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. When I was 23, I became legally blind. At 27, I contracted meningitis. I lost both of my parents by the time I was 34. At 40, I received a kidney and pancreas transplant. And at 43, my husband asked me for a separation. Oh, my love. He said he was miserable, he said I was miserable, and that we couldn't go on living like that. And he was 100% right. You see, my mother told me once that my first full sentence as a little girl was, "I can do it myself." And I did. I taught myself how to tie my own shoelaces. I watched my dad do it. I watched and I learned. And my tiny little fingers got to work on those tiny little laces on my tiny little saddle shoes. And it wasn't those bunny ears. It was a full-on, lace-over, pull-through professional job. I was awesome. So what happens when I couldn't do it myself, or otherwise? It broke me. It crushed the belief I had in myself and my capabilities. You see, when I became legally blind, it was within a matter of 2 weeks. And there was no more driving. That was it. I felt like all my independence was taken away from me. And then when I looked in the mirror, I saw my face in fractional pieces. So my brain had to figure out how to put it together to make a full picture. I'm almost there. And then when I became legally blind, it was 1993. Yes, the 1900s. And there was no portable technology accessories to help me read or see or do anything. The machines were so big, I would have had to add an extension on my house just to read my Cosmos and Vogues. It was insane. So I felt aimless and a bit hopeless. And I felt like I was living in a darkened room in front of a blurry TV. But I am not here to talk about all the bad stuff that happened to me. I am here to talk about all the amazing things that have happened for me. And one of those was my husband asking me for a separation. I was left with a choice, a decision to make. I could either stay in my destructive belief system and live my life by default, or as I deemed, defect. Or I could choose to honor that little girl and start tying my own shoelaces again, sometimes with help. Well, I can tell you in no uncertain terms that I would not be standing here today if I did not choose that little girl. I had to come up with a recipe for myself to move myself forward and achieve success. And I use the word recipe on purpose because naturally, when you think of self-help, you think of chocolate cake. I know you're all thinking of chocolate cake right now. So I had to come up with the right recipe. And they're similar in the ways that you need the right ingredients, you need the right amount of those ingredients, and they take time to bake. So the ingredients can come together, and they can compound each other and build upon each other. Some of my ingredients included gratitude, which I can't even tell you how much gratitude I've come to have. See, I have a 13-inch scar from my transplant. And instead of it reminding me of a time of sickness or pain or ugliness, it now reminds me of the amazing gift that I received, the gift of life. It changed my perspective on everything. I also started meditating, and it taught me how to stop and settle and focus and to cut out all the noise of all the things that were trying to pull me away from what I wanted and to block it out. I could breathe. And another one is music. I have always been very emotionally and profoundly affected by music. but I never understood how to purposely use it to create an energy that I was looking for. I just let it happen. So I started coming up with playlists. Playlists for joy, love, empowerment, little feeling sexy, feeling silly, feeling anything I wanted to feel before a workout. And I started listening, and it was everywhere. And when you feel that music in your body, and it's in your home, and it is surrounding you, it can be transformative if you let it. So those were some of my choices. And my choices were all made, and still are made, from the love I have for self and the belief I have in myself. I chose to write a memoir. I chose to become a life coach. I chose to get certified in neuroscience. I chose to get up and walk out of that darkened room and away from that blurry TV. I'm just glad technology finally chose to keep up with me. This girl. So I ask you, what are your choices? What's going to be in your chocolate cake? What are your ingredients going to be for your success? Oh, and that guy who asked me for the separation, last week we celebrated our 19th wedding anniversary, and he's here today supporting me.